We're going to start out in the tropics where things could start getting interesting, though thankfully not for us. Hurricane Gabrielle, still a major hurricane, although moving very quickly away from Bermuda. But interestingly enough, it will still have some fairly decent strength as it moves toward the Azores in the central Atlantic, probably by about Friday, eventually weakening and likely a big rainmaker moving into the Iberia Peninsula, Portugal and Spain. Elsewhere, though, there are two tropical waves that the Hurricane Center is highlighting, and both have now been tagged with that invest. 94, the one more over the islands, and then 93 a bit farther to the east. 93 is a higher chance of development per the Hurricane Center, but both have very strong signals by the models. This is just looking at the Euro, and looking at most of the ensemble models, most of them are in pretty decent agreement. They do indicate that 93, the one that's a bit farther out to the east, develops first, maybe as soon as Thursday or Friday, with more of just a kind of sloppy mess of rain from the one that's over the islands. Then as we head toward the weekend, we could see both of these becoming more organized tropical systems, maybe even both named systems. This one obviously going to pose a little bit more of a concern for the Bahamas and even Florida. Elsewhere, this one, though, not likely to impact any areas around the United States, but could impact Bermuda. As we continue going into Sunday, Monday, we could have two well-organized systems off the East Coast, and that continues into early next week. But then beyond late next week, one gets pulled out from an upper trough, quickly moving into the North Atlantic. The other one kind of misses that upper trough and sits off the East Coast. This is still the very early stages of these systems, which have not yet organized. We've got plenty of time to watch, but what is positive is that right now, those, the only two really threats in the near future, and none pose a concern for the Gulf. In fact, from the Climate Prediction Center through October 7th, we are not looking at any real development in the Northwestern Caribbean or the Gulf, and it really isn't until the second week of October that it's tagged with a low chance right around Central America. Notice, though, better chance more in the Eastern Pacific. So we continue quiet through hurricane season. We've had some scattered showers, thunderstorms around the area today, and more expected tomorrow and into early Thursday with our front. Mostly cloudy skies as we've gotten later into the afternoon, but high temperatures were still able to get up to 92 degrees, and the record on this date is only 94, running well above our average of 87. Rain off in the distance looking toward the Laplace area, 87 right now, but when factoring in those dew points in the 70s, it feels like 96. So when our temperature was 92, it felt more like 100 plus. So that's why it wasn't nearly as comfortable today. Some 70s where we've had the rainfall, 80s and low 90s elsewhere, and that humidity is high. But the good news is, even though it's not going to bring a fall-like feel, once our front pushes through, humidity drops and it'll feel very pleasant heading on into this weekend. We're looking at a couple of upper level lows, and this is kind of an elongated trough. I widen out because this is the colder air, but this isn't where this disturbance is coming from. This is the feature that triggers our rainfall. Colder air stays up north, so while this upper troughing at least does push through a cold front, there is no cold air associated with it. That's why the temperatures are not going to be dropping once the front arrives. We'll start to see our rain chances increasing during the afternoon and evening. May see some lingering rain into the overnight, and that 70% is primarily early on Thursday, so Thursday morning could be a wet start. I'll keep a mention of a 30% chance on Friday morning, mainly along the coast, but the front will be clearing the area, so we'll already be getting into the drier air. Very pleasant weather for the weekend. Last weekend of September. It'd be nice if temperatures were a little cooler, but still with the low humid air, it feels pretty nice, and that nice weather continues into early next week.